Back track a lot. It's distance there as well. Very slowly. In fact, almost causing an accident there. Car stopped and turned in. No, in fact, we've got synchronised spinning. The driving there from everyone to make sure that we get through. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM eCast presenting the Oz Pro Am Sim Series. We're at round 5 here, and we are live at Lime Rock Park. And you'll see on screen there the Audi 90 GTO. We are here for some fun. It is our wildcard race to see if some of the drivers can get promoted or not. I am joined tonight by two very special gentlemen indeed. Carl with you again this week, back with us, and we are rejoined by Scotty. Welcome back, Scotty.
It's amazing what happens when I spent all last week basically going to sleep and waking up more tired than when I went to sleep. I just had no energy. So when you're in here and you're broadcasting with Stuart, you need that buzz. Carl would have been better.
Well, it's nice to have you back. We need that energy in the booth, and you bring that energy. Also, you bring that experience and knowledge, Scotty.
What? Me? Experienced and knowledged? Well, broadcast has started on a downhill note, and it's only going to hopefully go uphill from here, so...
It can only get better from here, guys.
Seriously, though, what are we in for? We're in for 20 minutes by 2 around Lime Rock in what can only be described by the drivers as chaos, mayhem, and a lot of... How do you heel toe again?
These cars are something that is... It's a GT... Well, it's a touring car, a stock car. You're not used to driving. They're not like a GT3. These things have got turbos the size of a BMW GT3 car, essentially, with a wastegate similar size. They are ridiculous.
And they're like it's basically like driving a smaller, kind of lightweight version from the was it for the 80s or the 90s? From the 80s, I think it is, of a V8 supercar. But, you know, these days, the V8 supercars have got all this cool downforce, as the kids say in their terminology these days, and mechanical grip. Ain't none of that here.
No, indeed. So tonight we've got here two 20-minute races, and basically looking there at Mario Vartanian, just getting some... early accident damage out of the way. He'll be hoping for a clean night tonight like he did have last week. He had a really good run, in fact, last round as we finished up the first leg of Season 3 of the Intercontinental Championship. So this round here, we're looking for potentially to see if some of the amateur drivers can get promoted into the pro class for the second leg before next week. And we'll see what the drivers can do here. They've got to win. They've got to outpace the pro drivers, and there's a couple of the amateurs there. Jeff Connell, probably the one that comes to mind, who I think should probably make his way up into the pro class, but we'll see how he can do.
It's actually really good to see Jeff Connell, like, mired within a field and unable to just completely and utterly dominate a class. And if you have a look at the practice results that are on the screen at this point in time, we are still practiced for a little bit longer. Jeff Connell's currently sitting... what's that, 6th, 7th in the running standings? But having said that, there's literally 1.5 tenths between him and first place. So I'm not sure if you're saying mired in the mid-pack, more like everyone's in the mid-pack tonight.
Very timely there. He just slides the car off into the fence and absolutely destroys it. We've only got a minute to go here in practice before we get into an open qualifying session. And around Lime Rock, Carl, that's going to be pretty intense.
Yeah, it's a very short lap, obviously, in these cars as well. They're doing sub 50-second laps in these things. They are just an absolute monster of a thing to get around Lime Rock Park. As I said, lots of horsepower. You've got that turbo in there, four-wheel drive, of course, as well. You do have a bit of downforce, but it is early 90s downforce, early 90s mechanical grip. You've got those huge rear tyres on there, of course. They are a very different beast to drive, and they are very fun indeed, but very different to what everybody's used to as well. When you're used to driving more modern cars, you jump into one of these classic cars and you have to do things like heel and toe. You can't drive it like a modern car. You have to be a bit easier, and you have to be so careful on the accelerator as well, because if you let the RPM drop too much and you get that turbo lag kicking in, all of a sudden you will go flying off very quickly.
Look, and I'm just basically having a look up and down the field. We've got quality drivers like Gardo, which is basically just... Some people call him a clone of Matty Cardelloni, who's affectionately known as Cardo. But I think he's the faster version of that. I've seen him upside down throughout the practice session multiple times already. I've seen Cardo upside down multiple... Maybe they are twin brothers. Never mind. You know, we've got quality drivers. Like I said, Jeff Connell. He's on, you know, admittedly, from one of the professional drivers, this is going to be one of the harder cars to sort of master with a Logitech kit, compared to some of the guys with direct drives and things that have got a lot more reaction time and understanding. Rally is one of those things we really want the understanding, and these are effectively just a rally car with big road tires on them for all intents and purposes, because that's what they feel like, that's what they drive like, and that's what the turbo styling is like. So he's going to be a little bit under the weather, but having said that, how many is he going to have to beat to get promoted? Not many, but Jeff Connell in an amateur class doesn't stay there for very long at all.
No, indeed, and we've jumped on board as we do here. Luke Fitt first out of pit lane. Just bringing you one of my favourite things about this car, which is that belching exhaust, which is not so characteristic these days of the cars that we see with them trying to obviously optimise fuel usage and things like that, but it's one of the things about car racing that most of us love, which is just to see a huge belch of flame coming out of the side pop there just on the passenger side, so we'll get plenty of shots of that throughout the night as we ride here with Luke Fitt on a lap around Lime Rock Park. Do you want to talk us through it, Carl?
Yeah, so I've actually forgot to bring up my
I'm not going to challenge you for names tonight, because Lime Rock's not exactly the most common track on that we see.
It's a tricky one. So we'll get down here onto the start-finish straight. It's relatively, it's probably, you know, furthest straight on the actual circuit. So coming down to the first corner, it's a relatively tight right hand. You're going to drop down to about third gear here, maybe second if you're feeling a little bit less confident. It's a double apex here coming through the corner into this left-hander. Again, almost a double apex here. You're going to go in slightly late. It's a bit of a long, lonely corner. Then into this tight right corner. Got to be careful here. Don't take too much curve because the car will kick off. There's a little kink at the right and a little kink at the left. And then this tricky right-hander uphill. You're going to go blind up this hill, over this crest. You've got to be careful because you can lose the car here. Into the right-hander up the top of the hill. Again, one of those corners that could be taken quite fast. You do need to be careful of the corners because these curves are very unforgiving. Down into the final corner, the right-hander going to be going in there about fourth gear, put the power on, onto the straight, and that is a lap of Lime Rock.
Yeah, look, I was actually just having a look up because I was like, I'm actually curious about what the corners and things are called around here. So obviously we just went under the Sam Posey Straight Bridge. Are you ready for these absolute stunners of corner names? Corners 1 and 2, Big Bend. Corner 3, the left-hander they're currently going through, left-hander. The one after it, you guessed it, right-hander. Oh, look, they're on a straight. It's No Name Straight. You ready? Here we go. This is the next cool one. What's it look like? Oh, it's a bit uphill. Uphill. All of a sudden, we're at the western end of the track. You know what's coming. It's West Bend. Now we're in a downhill, and that's the end of the lap. They are so creative out here. This is this section of America.
American track names, corner names, are usually some of the best, as we know. You know, I think the most famous corner I think in America is the corkscrew. Really, I think that's about it for corner names.
Goes round and round. It's like a corkscrew.
That's it.
So, Carl, you pretty much got it spot on there, mate, without even just looking up the name. So, you know, well done. Congratulations, a good run there. It was just looking at a Jägermeister-inspired car, the 27 there of Mike Casey, a good-looking unit. I was looking forward to some liveries tonight. Hoping to see some retro stuff. There's a JPS livery getting around. That's not quite a Jägermeister livery, but we'll call it that for the evening. Or I probably will. You guys can call it what you want. But yeah, I was looking forward to some interesting looking liveries here tonight, and the few guys have cracked them out.
That's what I love about these sorts of rounds. Look, for the guys that have been around since the origins of Oz Pro-Am, they've tried to throw this retro round in, or the what does they call it, the All-Star round. I'm horrible with names. My memory still has it. Wildcard, there you go. I was like, I know it's there somewhere. It's something like that. The wildcard rounds, they've always been like this, and this has been the return favorite of all the drivers, because it's a testing car, it's a challenging car, but you can be strong in it. And look at the Flames. The Flames make for so many pretty shots, and there's going to be shots of Flames shooting out the side of a car at some point this evening as it goes through uphill and over the jump, effectively, as it's known by all the iRacing guys.
That beautiful thing about a turbo is it does not burn off the fuel as much, and then it just comes shooting out the exhaust in a big ball of flame. Looks spectacular in the evening when it starts to settle and you start getting a little bit darker. One of the things that I personally love about Le Mans as well is you see the blur of the brakes and, of course, the big balls of fire coming out the exhaust pipes. Always a great thing to watch out for, and that's something we're going to see with this race as well. It's going to be fun for sure, but those retro paint schemes, absolutely important. You want to have those cool retro looking cars. They are cars of the 90s. You've of course got the Audi sport colours out there, that beautiful, the red sort of brown black with the white, of course, very classic Audi colours. There's also, as noticed, a camel livery car as well, which is very, very cool. Back when cigarette advertising was still cool.
I was just having a look around as well. Like, if you have a look back at the aero packages on these things, it screams 90s at you. It's big, it's blocky, it's basically kind of haven't learned how to control the airflow over this thing properly yet. So if we just put something in the way that kind of directs the air where it needs to go, it's good enough. It's good enough.
We'll just stick bigger tyres on it and a bigger wing, and that's going to make it work.
But of course, that's how motorsport went for so long. They just chucked bigger things on it and thought, well, more's going to be better, more horsepower, bigger brakes, bigger tyres, bigger wings will be good. And that's how we've got to where we've got to now. And now they're going the opposite direction of, oh, well, that's way too tame. Let's just cut loose and narrow everything and put smaller stuff on and see how we go. So it's a cycle.
Untrue. Higher rake cars are doing better in more rake, more betterer in Formula One, as they say.
True. But they are going narrower wing though.
They are, but they're going with the bigger tyres too. Well, not bigger tyres, smaller tyres, but bigger wheel diameters. So look,
I was going to say 13-inch wheel they're going from. So I mean, it's a big change for them.
It's the tyre carcass is so interesting. These guys, they're already getting used to the big chunky tyres that have been around in Formula One because they've been around for forever. Oh man, these are the heydays. Big moustaches, big thick moustaches. You throw back to this period in Australian cricketing history and you start to think of look, that's exactly who I was trying to think of. Alan Border.
Yeah, David Boone just breaking the record for the number of VBs drunk on a flight from Australia to England. It was one of the highlights. Hey, well, we've got 2 minutes to go here. We probably should talk a little bit about where we're at with the qualifying. Timothy Audi is on provisional pole position at 49.08. He's just put that lap in to move in front of Luke Turner, who we're on board with now in the pink mobile. Andre Gartner is in third provisionally with Joshua Fitt, Luke Fitt, Matty Cartaglione, Jason Bentz. We've got Mario Vartanian, Jeff Connell and Paul Mansell rounding out our top 10 at the moment.
Tanny just jumping up into fourth there, so getting kind of used to the cars now, and it is very tricky to get used to these from what these guys have been racing, and it's one of those series where you don't really... There is, of course, the official racing out there with these cars, the Camel, I think it is.
Camel Series, yep.
Yeah, that's the one. But it's one of those series that not too many people race in, and you don't see these cars too often, but they are an absolute joy to drive. I did take one out a little bit earlier just to give it a bit of a spin around the track, and testing
Is
out.
spin the correct word?
Well, there was a couple of spins, yeah. We're testing out my new VR setup, and yeah, pretty scary.
As there goes
Like that?
Hayden Jackson just testing out the durability of the top of the trees as we get towards the end of qualifying. I think we're going to see a little bit of that tonight, unfortunately. Unlucky for Hayden there, but there's going to be plenty of guys jump on that grass on the outside, just with the turbo getting used to the cars, and they're going to end up flying through the sky, so keep a lookout for that.
I want to ask you a couple of questions here. Like, you're the oval guy. You're the guy that should be good at this sort of stuff. Now, having said that, this is kind of where my roots stem from. This is effectively what is known in motorcycle terms as a flat track. And I say that because all the corners go in one direction, except for one corner which turns the opposite direction. So it's called a dogleg. That's a flat track terminology. Normally they all go left and one back to the right, which is oval racing, but it's going to be wearing quite heavily on that front left tyre. 20 minutes shouldn't be too bad on them though, Carl, so what's your insight on that?
You probably have some trouble with the rear tyres a little bit. Being four-wheel drive, these cars are going to be a bit different in that respect. The tyre wear will probably not come into effect unless they're really spinning up those rears. With the laps that we've got for this race, it's going to be interesting to see how they go. I'm not sure exactly on the fuel as well for the race. I don't know if we need to, if there is going to be a mandatory stop for that. It might be worth just coming in to get those tyres done because they are going to get a little bit toasty. You are going to get them quite hot, and that's where people could start to struggle, is if they get the tyres a bit too hot in the corners, they are going to overheat pretty quickly, and that's going to be where the problem's going to lie.
Okay, so we've got the grid up on the... sorry, Carl, thank you for that. We've got the grid up on the screen now, and just a couple of late changes there in the results with Timothy Audi just grabbing pole position. He did do that while we were with them, but Joshua Fitt moving up into second position. We've got Jeff Connell and Matty Cartaglione off row 2 with Luke Turner and Andre Gartner off row 3. Then it's Mario Vartanian and Jason Bentz off row 4 with Luke Fitt and Daniel Webster, I know we haven't said for a little bit, off row 5. Aaron Oliver and Paul Mansell off row 6 as we flip back through this very well-supported field. Again, it's Dale Breed and Matty Dench off row 7. We've got Derek Audi and Adam Funzler off row 8 with Brady Buchanan and Dale Carpenter off row 9. They're followed by Aaron DeLuca and Liam Caplice. We've got Richard Brookfield and Lachlan Capel with Maverick Benson and Mike Casey as we flip back towards the back of the grid. And it is Sam Lehman with Patrick Panton. We've got Hayden Jackson, Ben Hoare, Isaac Edwards, Jeff Wang, welcome back to the series, and Tim Mitchell with Phil Audi rounding out the grid. That's the simrigs.com grid for you for this round 5. As we get ready to go racing with a very large field here. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed.
Standing start. Guess who's going to be best at those? Probably a driver in the real world. Car on row number 1 on the outside gets a horrible start. Gets mired down into turn 1. And it is going to be a pole sitter. Timothy Audi that leads it away. Josh Fitt gets stuck way deep in the pack. And I think that's Connell that snuck his way. No, it's Connell that snoked him into the lead on the first lap. Keep your eyes on that black Audi for most of the evening. Connell keen to earn his spot into the pro driving class. And well, when you lead them into the turn 1, it's generally on for a good night.
I'm not sure if Jeff Connell might have got a little bit of a jump start there. I saw him rolling a little bit before the green went out, so I'm not 100% convinced that he won't get a penalty. I'm just going to go back and have a bit of a look at that, because I did notice the car rolling a little bit just before the start. He might have gotten away with it, but yeah, I did see a little bit of a roll.
And there was a huge incident in the background there, just for those who didn't catch that. So a number of drivers have slipped down through the order. We'll save that replay there and bring it back to you after the race.
Look, I do know in terms of iRacing standing starts, there is a tiny little bit of, if it's a roll and it's not an acceleration, they generally let you get away with that. But if it's an acceleration of any kind, I would say that he's going to get pinged for it. So we'll find out. It's something that he's got a maximum of 3 laps to serve the penalty. So that's where our eyes are going to be for the next couple of laps, just keeping an eye on towards Connell. Way deep in the pack, there's a car around Ben Hoare on the infield on the 333. Boy, that is a pretty looking Audi, but I think it'd look a lot prettier going in the right direction from start to finish.
And I apologise, it was Valtanyan that had a little bit of a roll on that start. 2 black Audis, I picked the wrong one.
Well, is that Valtanyan just feeding back into the lead? Given no, it was another car I think that was feeding back in there out of pit lane, so he's going to have to give way very, very quickly as Connell gets clear of him, and all the rivals right there in the middle pack will want to get right by as soon as they possibly can. All of a sudden, things start to settle down. Timothy Audi still got control over second place in this field. You throw your eyes back to Andre Gardner-Cardo, so there's a few little bits of shake-ups. Joshua Fitt, after a few laps into this one, has settled into 7th place. So he is going to have his work cut out for him. Started second, but this grid is so tight. The opportunities to overtake are going to be few and far between. But Jeff Connell says, I'm setting sail, boys. Catch me if you can.
And I'm not sure that everyone knew that it was a standing start there. It certainly caught me by surprise. I thought it would be rolling start in these cars tonight, so that might have caught a few of the drivers out with that change-up. And we also don't have any fuel numbers, but I've noted a couple of drivers, including Mario Vartanian, just jumping into pit lane.
So Fitt shuffles out into the dirt. They are a rally-styled car, but it's still going to be the slower line, unfortunately. Well, the Camel Audi shuffles itself back through the field. Joshua Fitt, from what looked like a promising qualifying, suddenly deep in the pack, 14th from second on the grid. That's 12 spots lost. It's in his benefit. The second half of the race is going to be flipped in inverted grid with the top 15. So he's sitting on what is effectively second place for the second grid. So maybe he's got his eyes set on a second and a second off the grid.
We've seen that all throughout this season so far in the 4 rounds that we've had, that it's so tight at the front that the drivers in the reverse grid race generally get a really good run up the front of the pack. Got genuine pace, but sometimes they just get caught out, and exactly like what's happening here, they get mobbed and fall back through the field a little bit, and they perform really, really strongly in that second race. We saw, my apologies, my mind's gone blank, Dale Breed do exactly that at round 2, where he held out throughout the race and ended up taking out the win.
Yeah, Vartanian having a terrible moment coming out of pit lane, actually lost it and has gone across the grass. He's gone for a bit of a rally cross, so really bad start from Vartanian. I was going to say Daniel Webster as well. He had a bit of a poor start, managed to just get a little bit wide into turn number 1, into that big bend, and went a bit wide and had to cut across the grass there. So a few people being caught out there as well, and it is so easy to do in these cars.
Couple names I'm sort of just watching picking their way through the field. Sam Lehman from 25th on the grid up to 15th at the conclusion of that lap. Richard Brookfield from 21st to 13th. Derek Audi's gone a couple places forwards. Liam Completion 20th to 11th. But probably the class of the field so far in overtaking ability. Maverick Benson up 13 spots from 23rd to 10th. Somebody trying to match him. There's not really many. There's quite a few that have jumped a number of spots, but nowhere near the same level that Maverick Benson's gone for. But having said that, I looked at Maverick Benson on the grid and thought, that's a long way back for him. That's an uncharacteristically bad qualifying.
Yeah, Richard Brookfield's another one who's done this throughout the season. It doesn't surprise me to see him up 8 spots so far. He's been really consistent, kept his nose clean, and he's doing it again tonight.
Yeah, so I've just been looking at some of the drivers, and a few of them have come in for pit stops. So coming in just to get some fuel on board, so I'm guessing they're not going to be able to make it to the end on fuel. They're going to have to stop. One to watch out for is going to be Joshua Fitt, I reckon. He's down in 22nd at the... Sorry, 27th. 22nd at the moment, sorry. 24th at the moment even, there we go. Down 24th at the moment, but he's in some fresh air now. So he could be trying to do that little bit of an undercut. We've seen it a few times where getting that little bit of fresh air and clean air to run in can get you a little bit of an advantage later in the race. So it'd be interesting to see how that one works out for him.
Yeah, well, Jeff Connell mastered that, of course, as well last week. So, well, in fact, he's done it a couple of times this season because the pack's so close together. That breakout move really works well, and particularly at a short track like this. Sorry, Scotty.
I was just going to say, I just noticed the car skating off the road just in front of Connell going into 1. So, but I don't think it was Aaron DeLuca. It was somebody in called... Yeah, there it is, Jeff Wang. had a feeling it was somebody that whose name I'd seen before out here, but not having the greatest of nights. Hayden Jackson now shuffles himself through the lane, and by the looks of that, Jackson has come out ahead of Joshua Fitz. So that is one car that's opted to go with Joshua Fitt's strategy and covered him off. So there's quite a few battles actually starting to form. So Connell's in the lead, but it's only by about half a second over Timothy Audi. Andre Gartner is 3.5 seconds back off the lead, but closely fighting it out with both Cardo and Luke Turner. So one of the benefits of having a short track like this, a track that's going to be hard on tyres, may only be a 20-minute race. Fuel plays a part into that, but also we're talking about those temperatures and those tyres. I actually think, I'm looking at Jeff Connell in particular, he's driving the car differently to how he was on lap 1, so we are going to see a little bit of tyre fade.
Yeah, just see Richard Brookfield there taking tyres, I think, so somebody actually taking tyres. I've seen a couple of people come in and not take tyres, so just taking them on fuel. I was looking at some of the top stop times as well, so Joshua Fitt, for instance, was 7.7 in the lane. Richard Brookfield was 6.7. So it's interesting to see what people are up to. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all works. Of course, these guys are going to feed out just behind the leaders now. So they're going to have some slightly, if they've changed tyres, if they've got those fresh tyres on, they're going to have to try and pass the leaders, which could be harder than they think, because it is a tricky track to pass on Line Rock.
Yeah, I was going to say they're coming right out basically at the wrong point in the track. You don't want to be coming out in amongst these cars moving along on cold tyres. So just wanting to see how far into it Jeff Connell's going to go, because he hasn't managed probably to build up the gap that he was hoping to Tim Audi, doing a great job behind him, as Scotty pointed out just before. That gap opening just a little bit now, but still far closer than Jeff would probably want. Really want to switch back to this battle here. You can see between Gartner Cartaleone, as there Cartaleone goes down the inside, down into turn 1 on the Samposi straight, and he's going to get that job done. So good move there. Gartner will try and get back underneath him here, but not going to be quite able to do it. Good job from Matty Cartaleone, move up into third.
Yeah, Gartner just catching the grass slightly on the exit of the diving turn onto that front straight, and that cost him a little bit of speed and gave Cartaleone the chance to get that overtake done. But he's going to try and come back at him now. You've got just behind him Luke Turner as well, trying to put the pressure on Gartner as well. Andre Gartner, and Cartaleone is trying to hold off that pressure as well. So great battle here for third, fourth and fifth.
Third, fourth, fifth, yeah, absolutely, and don't even count out, I'd say, somebody like Luke Fitt, who's shuffled himself down through the pack early. Luke Fitt, Josh Fitt, my apologies, in the 59 machine, up to 19th at this point in time. Now, given the traffic scenario, the first thing that pops into mind is I have a feeling Connell's going to go long here, and we've seen those drivers nip into the lane early. It looks like the amount of fuel they're going to have to take on board is about the same length in time as those tyres. The other question for me is, what's the fuel burn numbers going to be like? We're currently 12 laps into this race. It's a 49-second lap. So 50-second lap once those tyres start to warm up, start to overheat a little bit. So keep that in the back of your mind. 50-second laps. We've got 20-minute heats here tonight. What that means, we're going to end up somewhere around the 22-23 mark in terms of laps. So if some of these guys that come in early don't necessarily have that number of fuel on, they could be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, and these cars can catch you out with that. They are quite fuel hungry. Usually you sort of go turbos. They do tend to chuck fuel with it, and these things are definitely fuel chillers. They can really catch you out, and if you start pushing them hard, they start eating it up very, very quickly. So it is easy to be caught out with fuel numbers if you do stop a little bit early, and if you do just underfuel the car a little bit, trying to get that car to work. So again, it's not like the sort of GT3 cars where you can save a lot more fuel. These ones you can't really fuel save on as easily. It's not impossible, but it is a lot harder to do.
Just keeping an eye here on Josh Fitt, who we did mention stopped quite early. Made his way back up so far, up to 15th, and is actually third out of the vehicles that have gone through pit lane. So he's going to progress with that clear air. He's been managing to run round about the low, very, very early 50-second laps, so he's not doing too bad in terms of timing. Caught a little bit in traffic now.
Traffic management is going to be the really hard thing to do here. As I said before, Lime Rock is not an easy place to pass on. It's a very narrow track, and these are very wide cars as well. They've got that big wide body kit on them as well, which makes it that little bit trickier. As I say, they are four-wheel drive, so you do get a little bit more opportunity to cruise them. Of course, you can run a little bit wide, but you do get a bit of understeer with them as well because of that four-wheel drive system. So you've got to be a bit careful, but you can get it worked out quite well sometimes. If you get it right on the corner, you can get good exits, and that's where you're going to probably want to do the overtaking. Probably down the straight is going to be your best opportunity.
Set it up, get that turbo spooled up, get on the power nice and early. Look, they've got options here tonight, but it's going to be about balancing that throttle, balancing that fuel game, balancing the tyre game. One of the benefits of running a little bit longer here is you're going to have a little bit more pace at the back end of the race. You can push a little bit harder, brake a little bit deeper, but just keeping half an eye on Connell's lap times. He's punching out, I think the last time around was a 49.1. So he is right there with his fastest lap so far. Actually, the 172 I saw. I just had a look. That's his fastest lap so far tonight in both practice and qualifying included. So I think we've got a flyer on our hands up front. Accident just in front of him. DeLuca. No, Tim Mitchell and DeLuca. Was it? Isaac Edwards. There you go.
So we just seen
timings are in the blink of an eye.
Matty Carleone into pit lane, Andre Gartner in with him, Adam Funslow, Matty Dench. So 4 of our front runners now into pit lane. Just waiting to see if they take tyres. I doubt they will now because the fuel stop's too short. Yeah, they don't. So those able to take tyres, Richard Brookfield, Maverick Benson, we're going to keep an eye on them as well because they're in a better position, you would think, with 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, I was just jumping back a little bit. Hayden Jackson just getting caught by Joshua Fitt. Just a slight touch as they went through the S's. Spun
Connell's in. Connell's in. Sorry, apologies to cut you off there, Carl, but Connell into the lane. I'd say this means there's probably only one more lap of fuel for a few of the other top runners. Connell has decided there's a wall of traffic building up in front of him. Time to nip through the lane. Let's get this fuel served. Let's as well make sure we cover off those guys who've already completed their stop.
As they come out, somebody losing it a little bit on the start-finish straight there. But we've got those guys coming into pit lane. We've still got Timothy Audi out there, Luke Turner as well. So those guys are going to probably come in this lap. I'd say maybe if they can stretch it one more lap, they'll try. But I think Timothy Audi's going to be coming in this lap.
He's gone by.
As is often the case when you commentate, it's always the one.
Damn you, Murphy, damn you.
So those guys are sticking out a bit longer. So we've got Auty, Turner, Bence, and Derek Auty as well, not stopping as of yet.
Can I just pipe in here with a perfect timed joke? Damn you, Murphy, damn you. 5 minutes! 5 minutes! We got just over 5 minutes to go, lads.
Oh, excellent. Good, good. As Connell, Gartner, Matty Carleone are our front 3 adjusted for pit stops. So we've still got Auty, Turner, Bence, and Derek Auty to stop in. Timothy Auty can't have much left in the tank. I expect to see him go in. And he does this lap indeed, Carl. He just did it to spite you. Probably must have been listening in the car. Luke Turner's gone in. Should expect to see Bence go in as well in a Jägermeister Audi. So this will sort the field out, and it will be Jeff Connell back in the lead. He's got about a 4-second cushion over Andre Gartner. And, of course, Gartner has skipped Matty Carleone in the pit lane process and gained himself a fair bit of time there as well because it's about, what have we got there? There's only half a second in it. So for him, it's the clear lap that he's managed to get through after that to get in front of Matty because, of course, Matty was in second position when he pitted.
A couple things to note about the draft in these sort of cars, talking about big wide body kits. They punch a big hole in the air, but having said that, there's not a lot of little winglets and drafting aero devices attached to bits and pieces of the body. So whilst other cars of a more modern era have a lot of trouble running in the wake of the car behind, these guys do punch a big hole, but they're able to suck up quite closely. It's just being able to see your braking markers that little bit earlier, being able to be aware of where you need to pull the car up. That's really helped Gartner to get around Carleone.
Yeah, it was just a big all from me as those guys were coming into pit lane. Derek Auty lost it coming into pit lane. almost took out Vartanian as well. Very close incident there. They just missed each other, but Derek Audi having a huge moment. And that's another thing about Line Rock, is the pit entry is a tricky one. Very easy to make a mistake on.
And of course, do have to quickly mention 93PC, who are the sponsors for this first race. Sorry, Scotty.
No, go right ahead. I was just going to say, yeah, it's short, it's tricky, you got to get the car pulled up. But that's so much about the track around here at Lime Rock. It's short, it's quick, you got to get the car pulled up. It's a lot of late apexes as well, which means you're turning in that little bit later, Benefit is, they're going to be running a lot of rubber down. So this second race, I expect those first few laps, drivers are going to be sending it a little bit deeper than they normally would have. It's going to be cold tyres, the grip levels are going to change. And remember...
Sorry, just jumping back to Andrew Gardner and Carpioni there. Sorry, just getting so close to each other. Gardner was right side by side with him coming down the straight there. Carpioni just managing to break that little bit later, but this fight is really starting to heat up for second place at the moment.
There's Liam Caplice there just off in front of the guys as well, so it's got to contend with the lap traffic, contend with the pace that one another are putting in here, as Cardleone is all over the back of Andre Gartner. We'll just jump out the back of Gartner's car here as they head back down on to the Samposi Straight. One of the best corners on the track, and you can see there the gap will close up, and it'll be on again between these two for another lap.
Keeping my eyes as well on lap times. Tim Audi, well, he's creeping up onto the back of these guys. They fight, which means that they're both losing time. So whilst Gardner leads this battle pack, Tim Audi says, look, yeah, you really outsmarted me going through the pit lane. You got a minute 45 though, Mr. Audi. Better put that turbo into overdrive and see if you can drive onto the rear end of these two boys in front of you, because you've still got to set that move up and get it done. And he's going to need time to do that. And time is not what he has on his hands.
Dale Carpenter goes off in the background. Luke Fitt involved in that one as well. You can see there Luke Fitt's car, the 111 of Dale Carpenter has just about expired down on the last corner there. You can see, there's a huge incident in the background there. Paul Mansell just lunching it onto the straight. I think he might have got caught up there with the dead car of Dale Carpenter's.
Yeah, he went into the back of Carpenter. He didn't actually see him going over the brow of the hill. Did not see that car there. He's just gone flying over the hill, and then all of a sudden there is a dead car in the road. He tried to actually get out of the way to avoid the incident, the damaged car, but Mansell's just gone straight into him. A huge crash between those two cars as we've got 33 seconds left of this race.
Well, with 33 seconds left on the clock, I dare say Connell has just received the white flag, which means he will just continue to show a clean pair of heels. In the meantime, Gartner's only got about 7 or 8 corners left to get this thing home in second place, but Cardo and Gardo will go hammer and tong, tooth and nail, through every corner of the last lap. Finally, through the right-hander, they'll head on all the way up here to the uphill for one more time. No Name Straight now complete, uphill, up through the right-hander. There's not a lot of track left, so if Cardo's going to get it done, it's here or it's nowhere. Now it's down to downhill. This is it, the final chance, and for me, he's not close enough. P2, it looks like it's going to be for Gardo. P3 for Cardo. Oh, I think that's a cough. I think that's a car out of fuel. Gardner going backwards, going massively backwards. He's out of fuel. He has binned it in terms of the fuel strategy, throws it away at the line. P2 becomes P4, and very lucky not to take out a few drivers in the background. Great job by a fair few boys there as Mr. Connell continues to light it up rally car style off on the infield. But what a drive over those closing few laps between the three of them. It's going to be P2 for Matty Cardleone, P3 for Tim Audi, and P4 for Andre Gartner.
With Luke Turner in fifth. I was going to say, watch out for Audi. If those two have a bit of an incident, if those two get close towards the end, Audi is in for a shot here for a P3 finish. And it did happen. Gartner just running out of fuel just that last moment, coughing across the line, managing to secure 4th place still, but that was so very close at the end.
Fantastic finish there and good call as well as they came across the line. So just to repeat there, it was Jeff Connell taking out the win with Matty Carleone ending up pinching 2nd and Timothy Audi in 3rd as we head into a 10-minute warm-up period. So we can have a quick chat about a few other things going on. First and foremost, simrigs.com, Bridgestone Select, Cranbourne, Fountain Gate and Rowville, 93PC and HJ Plant Repairs. They are the partners for this fantastic series that we're fortunate enough to bring to you. AJ Insurance Services, our streaming partner as well. Thank you to them for jumping on the stream. If you are just joining us, you've joined the Oz Pro Am Sim Series. We are here for Wildcard Round 2 at Lime Rock Park. We're running the Audi 90 GTO, and as you saw there, or maybe just missed, a really close finish to that race, guys.
Close finish. It was a close race. It was a close qualifying. Close calls right throughout the race as well. Not easy to drive. The Audi 90 Quattro GTO, the very earliest in terms of 1990s machines available on the Sim iRacing. What a race! What a race, Carl! Who thought fuel strategy would be the decider of who would remain in the top 3? Who thought that for any stretch of the imagination was going to determine anything?
Yeah, honestly, I did not see that one coming. I thought they had pretty much got that covered off. But we did mention it earlier, remember, we did say it is possible that those guys stopping will just underfuel it a little bit because these things can be fuel hungry. And Gartner got caught out by that. Just a little bit hungrier than he thought. Underfueled it by what? About 50
20 meters?
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 sounds better. Yep.
Yeah, and that's it. It is that close. And these things, when you are driving them on the limit, they use up a lot of fuel. And it was just that tiny bit that did it. So, absolute blinder of a finish there. Run through the rest of the results there as we've got Luke Turner in 5th, 6th place was Funnelsway, Jason Bent 7th, 8th was Benson, Brookfield 9th, Joshua Fitton 10th, Matthew Dent 11th, 12th was Lehman, Brave was 13th, Oliver was 14th, 15th was Webster, Buchanan 16th, 17th was Derek Orty, Patrick Penton was 18th, 19th was Capel, Caplici was in 20th. 21st ended up being Mansell after that incident. Unfortunate for him, getting caught just by the hills as well. And that's something else we said, be careful of the hills here. The blind crests are so easy to catch you out. Aaron DeLuca in 22nd, 23rd, Mario Bantani. He's going to want to try and improve on that after a good qualifying session earlier on. Mike Casey 24th, 25th was Ben Hoa. Hayden Jackson 26th, 27th was Isaac Edwards. Tim Mitchell in 28th. Luke Fitt finished in 29th. In the end, we thought he was probably going to do a little bit better with that earlier pit stop. Didn't end up working for him. Dale Carpenter in 30th. 31st was Phil Orty. And Jeffrey Wang in 32nd. I
actually have a sneaking suspicion Fitt had to pit again. That may explain his poor result in that race. So
he had an accident. Yeah, he actually had a accident towards the end of that race. He had a lot of damage. So he ended up finishing 3 laps down. He had a big moment. I'm trying to remember where it was, but he had a lot of damage to that front left-hand corner of the car. So he ended up coming off, and that's what took him out in the race. It was around about the just up at the top of the hill, I think it was, with a lap or 2 to go. So yeah, that's what happened to him. So yeah, unfortunate for him, but it's going to be interesting to see because he's got some pace. It'll be interesting to see how he can recover in the second race.
It's going to be interesting to see how he can recover. Look, if there was a track that you told me you can have any track but one track to stick a reverse grid race on, I think we'd have a queue up the door to say everyone's saying, yeah, no Lime Rock, thank you. No, none of that. No reverse grids here. Well, in just a few moments' time, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to see the big stars of that race starting from 15th position forwards. So you've got Connell in 15th. You're going to have Matty Carleone in 14th. 13th is going to be, I believe it was Tim Audi. And then 12th is going to be the man who runs out of fuel, Mr. Gartner. So Look, I'm expecting fireworks. Jeff Connell always delivers fireworks with his pedals. Let's see if he can show some more of that out-and-out class that he is absolutely known for. One of the things I've actually knowing Jeff Connell now for a couple seasons worth of AUSPASS, among other things, is that the guy is just so clean, aggressive but consistent. People know where he's going to stick the car down there, and they know when he's going to be down there. He is going to do everything he possibly can to let both of the drivers through the corner, and he is fantastic at it. But he's also very keen to let the moves go when he needs to. He's just one of those drivers that you want to be around when if somebody's going to pull a dive bomb on me, Jeff Connell. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Interesting thing, just watching in practice session there, Jeff Connell, he wasn't doing too many laps, but he was doing a lot of practice starts. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out for him. I think he was practicing the starts a few times there just to get an idea of the clutch, get an idea of how this car is going to go for this start. We've got Daniel Webster up there on pole position with Aaron Oliver at second, Dale Bradis in third, fourth, Sam Lehman, Matthew Dench and Joshua Fitz in sixth, Richard Brookfield in seventh, eighth, Matt Benson, ninth is Jason Bentz with Adam Funslow in 10th, 11th, Luke Turner, Andrew Gardner in 12th, 13th, Timothy Audi, Carlo Corleone 14th, and 15th is Jeff Connell. We go down to Brendan Buchanan in 16th, 17th is Derek Orty, Patrick Penton 18th, 19th Capelli, and place in 20th position. And getting very close to the start, so I will shut up.
You're right, Carlos. We're about to get going. I'll let you take it away, Scotty.
That's it. Red lights in the air. Green flag is waving. We are away. Who's going to be the one to lead them away? It's going to be Daniel Webster, but we're 3-4 wide. Contact! There was a big hit there. Cars around, smoke in the air. The drivers are going to get through there. Aaron Oliver immediately on comms says, sorry, mate, that's on me. Look, great job. Immediately own up to the problem. But other than that, the guys seem to get through the first corner okay. And for where I expected there to be a lot of fireworks, there wasn't quite as many as I assumed. I'm having a look at the front end of these cars. I'm not seeing a lot of lights, and we've got 20 minutes, and I think this track is going to go real dark real quick.
Yeah, I just noticed that. I was just looking at the screen thinking, what's going on with the computer, but nothing at all. We've gone into very heavy dust, very heavy cloud as well with the random weather. Daniel Webster getting off to a cracking start with Dale Breed as well. Matthew Dench currently in third position. We've got Maverick Benson, Joshua Fitt up into fifth, Richard Brookfield up into sixth place. Biggest mover on the track, Mario Bertanian up 10 positions from the start, currently in 13th.
Yeah, we had a few cars going off track, a few big moments. Dale Carpenter, huge off in the background as well, so some really big moments. Jeff Connell having a good start. He's up there in 10th at the moment. So he's working his way up the field. But as you said, we had some really big movers with Lachlan Capel, Paul Mansell and Vartanian up there in 11th, 12th and 13th. Those guys are really pushing it. And as you say, not much light on these cars. They've not got much in the way of headlights.
Oh no, Webster's off. Webster's had a big moment coming down through downhill. He gets tagged again. That's accidental. There is absolutely nothing in that. He's trying to catch the car up, get it back on the racing line. Multiple drivers very wide coming through the final corner and down onto the straight. But Webster will crab walk this one back to the pit lane. There's a car sideways out of the last corner, across the racing line, parks it perfectly. We say it week in, week out. Simrigs.com and all of their drivers and crew, as well as the administrators here at AUSPASS, put on a phenomenal show. The racing's close, it's fair, there's a lot of touches, but 95% of the time, everyone comes away enjoying themselves.
Yeah, those accidents are very hard to have happen. As I said again, those hills, those crests are absolutely terrifying as it gets to low light as well. It's even harder to see. We've seen in the oval racing as well, when you get a lot of smoke in the air, these things get very hard. Visibility is very low. And we've seen that as Jason Bentz gets a big tank slapper on down the front straight there, manages to catch it, keeps it going. But these guys are starting to struggle a little bit. The air temperature is going to be dropping quite a lot here, which is going to be quite good for the tyres. It's going to keep them a bit cooler air as well for those engines as well.
Just jump on board here with Jason Bentz to have a look at what the vision looks like for the drivers, and you can see there it is very dull indeed. So fixed brake markers, things they won't have practiced during the sessions that have been on so far, and even just as recently as the warm-up session. Track conditions here completely different to what they've been used to so far.
It's adaptations. You've got to adapt when you're driving like this, and you've got to really work on that. And that's the thing, is when the track temperatures change, when the track conditions change, it really throws you out. You've got more grip on the track because of that. The tyres. Oh, as Carlione has a big off down the front straight, and almost gets hit by Luke Fitz. Sorry. Very big moment for Carlione. He's got a lot of damage on that car, though.
Yeah, there was a touch in the background there as well. I think it was Sam Lehman might have grabbed hold of Luke Fit and went around as well. So it's nice and close. There it is again. And he's off. He is off into the guard. That's Luke Fit. And he is paying the guardrail a visit down there at turn 3.
Reminds you a little bit looking at that livery of some of the late 90s rally cars directly. So, look, he'll gather it up. He'll get into the pit lane. So I think Carleone's got a fuel number in mind. He's got to drive to that. He gets to that lap number, and he'll dive straight down through the lane. In the meantime, Breed is under assault from Matthew Dench at the lead of this motor race. And all of a sudden, the yellow and white of Matthew Dench, the Pennzoil livery, is going to send it through. Pennzoil? Yeah, Pennzoil. Beautiful. I did call it correctly. So Maverick Benson, though, is on an absolute flyer in the 51 machine. Richard Brookfield's there. Joshua Fitt, Jason Bentz. I tell you what, this lead pack covers all of a second and has 7 drivers contained within it.
How good does the exhaust look in the dark?
Just going to say, how good is it watching from that angle, seeing the car just up off all 4 of its wheels as well as it goes over the jump up the hill, coming up towards the back straight there. It is very exciting out there, and as you say, those cars look fantastic in this gloom. It's just fantastic seeing those big flames sparking up on them. Unfortunately, can't really see the brake light. The brakes going because of those wheel covers on these cars. The little bit of aerodynamic age that they do have for these vehicles.
As Lockie Capel has gone off track as well, so he's now slid down to 22nd. Aaron Oliver down into 21st, down 19 positions. Matty Dench, current race leader, up 4.
Got a great little fight going on between Jason Bench and Andre Gartner there. They were side by side coming up the hill. Gartner's going to try and go down.
Oh, it's getting dark.
He's going to make it. He's going to stick it. He holds it. There's a little bit of contact there, but he does manage to hold it. Now it's going to be a drag down the front straight. Jeff Connell is there as well. He's going to try for the inside line, get down on the inside of Bench. See Gartner getting a little bit loose there. Very close between these guys.
It's close. It's really close. And I was just going to mention, just in the background, who are we looking at in this lead bunch? Well, it's Connell and Gardner who are crawling up on the back of them. So Gardner's going to do what he can to get this move done. He's getting shuffled a little bit out. But, hey, look, they've got their move done. They're past Bentz. Well, now this battle pack shakes 2 members off, but they are 2 of the faster members on the track. So you can guarantee that that gap that exists there for now isn't going to exist for long. And I tell you what, if there's one thing I know, I have a feeling Connell's going to sneak up here, use Gardo to go to the pits. Gardo's going to the pits. Yeah, I was about to say it. Somebody's going to pull the undercut here. And the undercut, for my liking, is going to be one of the strongest things that you can do. A lot of smoke on the pit lane entry. I wonder if that was either Benson or Gartner in the lane that are going to get themselves a penalty for pit lane speeding infringements.
Yeah, it was definitely Gartner there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, see if he gets a drive-through. We're going to have to start calling the race by Braille shortly. Apologies, there's nothing wrong with your screens if you just joined us. The track here, timing-wise, it's very, very dark as we've got 12 and a half minutes to go. The only light on the track is actually at the Sam Posey Bridge on the main straight, so you'll have to keep an eye out for your favourite driver on the ticker across the top.
Look, we're going to be watching for brake lights and the exhaust. That's the only way you're going to be able to see around here. You're going to need to make that exhaust pop as much as you can, like a flashlight at the moment, so you can actually see the way around the track. It's going to be a real test of skill for these drivers because you're going to be driving almost blind here as it gets darker and darker. It's going to get much harder to see, and it's going to be a really juicy one. This is like real classic endurance racing. back in the 30s and 40s, where they were basically driving in pitch black.
This is unbelievable. We're on board with Dale Breed at the moment, and you can basically only see tail lights and a little bit of the white line on the track. So you're really wanting someone to give you a guide as to where you are on the track, and otherwise it's driving by memory.
It's a bit like having a seeing eye dog, the way you're getting around this track.
As Breed jumps into pit lane, they're even struggling to see the cones on the entrance to pit lane. Ridiculous.
What's the pit lane entry? Pit lane speeding infringements, who needs those? Just having a look, Gardner has come out in P14. Dale Breed is currently in P10 as he's going to resurface out into the track. So I have a feeling it's going to be really, really close in terms of where those guys re-emerge. Having said that, Gardner may have had that penalty. Well, actually, Maverick Benson is nowhere to be seen in that question. So I'd say it was Benson that got the penalty. So other than that, Gardner gets out ahead of Breed.
Yeah, I had a feeling Gardner actually was okay in that stop. I had a quick look back, and yeah, he was okay. It was the car in front of him that locked up going into pit lane. You're going to be wanting I don't think even seeing eye dog's going to be useful. You're going to need a sniffer dog for this one tonight, just to follow the smell of the tire, the rubber on the track, I think.
Can I just bring something to both of your attention, however? The Gardner obviously ran out of fuel at the end of race 1. He pitted 2 laps earlier than Dale Breed, pitted on lap 10, Dale Breed, Gardner on lap 8. Gardner's stationary time in pit lane, 2 seconds less than Dale Breed. So he took on less fuel than Dale Breed, but stopped 2 laps earlier. So he's going to have to manage fuel towards the end of the race.
I have a feeling that Breed may have just long stopped to guarantee it. Just looking at those numbers, because Breed's pit lane transit time was 30 seconds, and Gardner was 28 seconds, allowing for about 7 to 8 seconds in the box. So a few things to just keep an eye on there. One of the corners they can see into, as the pace car is really assisting us, is down into turn 1. There's a pace car on one side and some Sam Posey straight lights on the other one to advertise the track. It's a little bit like follow Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Well, it's not Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, it's Rudolph the brake-lighted Audi. So keep your eyes out for those flashing red lights in the rear view, in the back of somebody's car up ahead of you. That tells us there's a corner somewhere up there.
A big incident a little bit further back as Hayden Jackson gets pulled into from behind by, I couldn't quite make out who it was. It was a white Audi. It was the 111 of Dale Carpenter, just missing the braking point there. So big incident, and I reckon that is more down to visibility than anything else, and we're going to see that a lot tonight as Jeff Connell comes into the pit lane. So he is in the pit lane right now. Richard Brookfield's going to be in the lead. It's going to be interesting to see where Connell comes out in regards to Gardner.
Fastest lap of the race, though, only 2/10 down on the first race this evening in full visibility. So really good pace from the drivers despite the tough conditions.
Teach a racing driver how the track feels, take away his vision, nothing changes. He knows what he's doing, so...
It's a little bit Mr. Miyagi about it, really.
It is wax on, wax off, eyes closed. Yeah, that's it. Learn how it feels, boys.
It's the tricky thing is going to be, as we see Richard Brookfield there just running that little bit wide, it's just running on. That's going to be the hard thing when this light really starts to dim, as we've still got 8 minutes to go, and it is going to get much darker here. It's really going to be almost going to be pitch black by the end of this race, and it's, as I said, it harkens back to the old days of motorsport where basically ran in pretty much pitch black conditions, especially at places like Le Mans for the 24-hour races back in the day. They were running there in almost pitch black conditions, as the car headlights were pretty much non-existent back then. You were relying on the feel of the car, the knowledge of the track, and sometimes a spotter next to you being an extra set of eyes.
I was just going to say, just having a little bit of look at the sim time and those sorts of things. There's no sim time advancement, so it's gotten dark at the normal pace it would have got there. Oh, it's still getting darker. It is absolutely still getting darker. So, well, Stu, I think you've done something with the colour on your box, because it's certainly looking a little bit better than mine, which is normalised. And I have a feeling some of those other drivers out there on the track are in the same sort of problems.
We're on board now with Richard Brookfield, and you almost can't see the track at all. So just shows you how well they're doing. Luckily, we're not doing this at Bathurst in the dark.
Fence.
That would be unbelievable. So, but they're still doing a really good job here. Guys, there's a huge amount of smoke there, down there on the inside. That was Phil Orty off on the left-hand side of the track there. Yeah, Richard Brookfield here just following around. I think it might be Brady Buchanan. He's just gone past, but that was giving him a little bit of light. Probably would have been a good strategy just to stick behind him to get a guide around the track.
I think it was
that smoke there as well. As I said, the smoke just took visibility away completely for a second. It's not like you need less visibility at the moment. It's dark enough already.
Look, AUSPASS throws some interesting challenges at our drivers. I think this is the most interesting. A few of the drivers were just saying before, can we get a candle? Candle out there, someone? Anyone got a candle? Just look out the window. Just look down at those pretty exhaust pipes. That's going to be your guiding light, I think, around this track, as we've seen it for a few times. Brookfield continues to lead the way, and the last one of our drivers to pit. I don't think this is a bad strategy, given that how dark it is right now. Probably staying out and conserving a fast repair might be the best strategy, because if something happens and you haven't pitted yet, you're at least a pit stop ahead of everybody else.
Not to mention lap times, of course, have dropped off as well. Now we're well into the 50-second mark for a majority of the pack. So the pace around nearly a full second down on race pace for the last race.
Actually, I tell you what, guess who's going fastest right now? Jeff Connell and Andre Gardner. These guys are still going hammer and tong at it. It is. You cannot see the racetrack, and neither of these guys care in the slightest.
And in typical Jeff Connell fashion, he's racing in the Batmobile again this week, so his car's totally black, other than the white wheels, and they're caught in heavy lap traffic here as well. So we'll stay with them now as Matty Dench actually makes a move on Jeff Connell. And there, I heard some damage there. I think there might have been a bit of contact on Connell's car.
Yeah, Connell getting caught there on the outside, and that has put him, just knocked him out a little bit and given Gardner the chance to get past. Connell doesn't have too much damage. He's going to be okay, but that has lost him position.
So Gardner, Dench, Connell now the order, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Joshua Fitt in 2nd, Richard Brookfield in 1st. Richard Brookfield yet to stop.
Joshua Fitt has completed his stop, so he will lead the drivers that have completed their stops so far. Interesting to note, though, as the pace falls off, the time you lose in the pits shrinks. So interesting to note that the drivers that will pit at the very back end of this race will lose the least amount of time compared to their compatriots.
Brookfield coming in, and they lose it on the pit entry. Brookfield losing it on pit entry. That is a disaster for him.
I was just about to say he was 30 seconds clear at the front of the pack. He probably could have got through pit lane transit without losing the lead.
Completely dark. You cannot see. The last bit of light just went. You can't see. You cannot see whatsoever.
Jeff Wang crashed. Tim Mitchell's just crashed. That's insane. It is absolutely pitch black.
Somebody is. I can see 2 guys that are still out there. That are. Never mind.
That is amazing. We're done. Andre Gardner is out. It's just gone.
Yep, it is. It is way too dark out there. We've got chaos on the track at the moment.
This is the view on board with Matthew Dench, our race leader. He cannot see anything. He's still on the gas. He's still racing. What is going on?
Matthew Dench still going for it, putting some serious speed in there. He's slowed down. He's caught somebody.
Oh, he just crashed in pit lane. He's just crashed in pit lane, I think. There's a yellow flag. We've gone to full course caution. My goodness.
Just in. I've just got a message from our league hosts. They've decided, in the interests of a show, red flag. They're gonna go back to just before it went pitch black there and call it there. So I have a feeling. I don't think Brookfield have it. I think Brookfield was the lap before it went to pitch black, which puts my liking towards Fitt. I think Josh Fitt might have it.
It's going to be... Oh, we're going to have to wait for this one. Who knows what's happened here? Who knows where it's going to actually... Toe screens are just playing around at the moment.
It's a really tough call, I think, if Richard Brookfield isn't awarded the win, because it went black when he was in pit lane and he was still in the race lead at that time. Albeit he hadn't pitted, he still had a good margin even after the incident. So it's going to be real interesting to see how the call out. Who do we pull up to the box to have a chat with after the race?
I think we call Matty Cardelloni, and we call him not necessarily to the commentary box, we call him to the sin bin.
Oh wow, sin binned him. First.
We're sin binning Matty Cardelloni. Actually, no, I think Sam Lehman actually does the server setups. So I think this is on Sam Lehman, but Matty Cardelloni is always going to be good for a funny comment. So
I'd love to jump back and bring up some replays, but they're all in the dark. So there's just nothing for me to show you, really, unfortunately.
We've got a replay happening right now. As you can see, this is an amazing lap happening here as we come up to the back straight here. Super speed coming through these corners. Unfortunately, you can't see it on the screen, but that car is flying.
Actually, what we might do is I might just go back to the moment that it all went terribly, terribly wrong. So this is Richard Brookfield in the lead of the race. He's actually coming into pit lane. There's still mild amounts of visibility there. You can see he's just locked it up on the way into pit lane. He's still in the race lead here. And see if you can work out the moment where everything just went completely wrong. And there it is.
There it is.
And it is absolutely pitch black.
As it sits on my screen, it's showing that Lance Hamilton might have actually might have got the win in that one. Yeah, it's a who knows situation. I think basically just grab a load of dice and whatever dice we get, whichever car numbers they are, we'll work it out with that. I think at the moment.
Hey mate, sorry, I can't. Couldn't see my button. Well, first part of the race was pretty cool. Started 15th, made a few spots at the start, and yeah, it was a great race. I think I was in about 5th, and it was really hard to see. And then I think the lap before they threw the yellow, the light.
Actually, hang on. This just in. Tim Mitchell is still on track and circulating behind the pace car.
Yeah,
Sam?
He'd be dead right. I deserve to be in the sim bin. A little miscalculation on end of race in the sunset, so I apologise to all the viewers for that.
That's right.
But it certainly made the race interesting. What we've decided to do is call the race at lap 18. So, but I'm going to sit down with the result. There's going to be some drivers who haven't pitted. So the drivers who haven't pitted will be given a nominal pit stop time, which, according to my data, is 23.2 seconds. So we'll sit down and we'll calculate that out and publish an official result in the next couple of days.
Just on that probably Richard Brookfield will be the winner if you're going back to lap 18, because I think he had a gap of around about 30 seconds at that point in time. So we'll see. Be interesting to see what comes out of that one. So, yeah.
Just jump on board Tim Mitchell quickly.
Can we get it on board from Tim Mitchell?
Just to give people a bit of an idea of what it's like.
Hang on, the safety car's
pulling into pit lane. So he's off. Off you go, Tim. Where's the race pace? He's just waiting for the flag to go green. It's gone green. He's off again and running. We're on board with Tim Mitchell. See how far he can get around this track in the dark. Oh, and the race is finished.
The race over, so...
Bad luck, Tim.
Should we get Tim? I feel like we should get Tim Mitchell in here for a discussion for the end of that one, because there's only one man out there running who can really give us an accurate description. Jeff Connell, in your most politically nice words, let me know your frustration with Sam Lehman about how much you were enjoying that race.
I was loving it. It's pretty cool starting 15th and carving through everyone. And it would have been a good fight at the end, I think, between me and Andre. And whoever else was in that top group. So, but it's, you can't be too harsh about these things. He's been running an awesome series, and the parity between the GT3 cars has been spot on. So it's no use being critical. It's obviously stuffed up with the time, but no, that's all right. It was a really fun night. It was good fun. Got a win and then got to charge through and pass a heap of people. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think when you go back a lap, it'll put me 4th or 5th. I had the pit stop time more like 30 seconds, but anyway, that's here or there. So either way you look at it, I'll end up 4th or 5th and a 1st. I'm pretty happy.
Sam, I think we actually should introduce this, play with the timing a little bit, but get it to be that one step before absolute pitch black on the last lap. I think that would actually be quite good. The racing up to that point was really good. You had people in basically no light whatsoever doing lap times that were half a second off full broad daylight lap timing. So it just showed again the skill of the drivers in the field. It was fantastic to watch until it went pitch black.
Yeah, the usual aim for setting up the sessions is to finish about 10 minutes before sunset. So I've clearly got that very wrong tonight. So again, apologies to everyone because I'm just as I'm gutted because I was actually having a lot of fun.
Matty Cartaglioni's jumped into the sim. Matty, you're just jumping in to tell us that you got your fuel strategy right tonight and you're only going to have to one stop.
Yeah, but I stuffed other people up. So I'm spewing about that. I'm a little annoyed about that one. I gave
So hang on. You got Gartner's fuel right. Please tell me you got his fuel right. We don't want to repeat the last time you gave him fuel information.
Did you see that he ran out on the last corner?
We did.
One? Yeah,
we did.
Yeah. Well, he took advice from me. I said, take 10.7, mate. She'll be sweet. And she wasn't sweet. And Andre, I'm sorry.
There's some history there, though. You've done that before already this season, and we're only round 5.
This is the second time I have short filled Andre. So,
interesting. Developing story.
Hang on.
Well, you short filled yourself at round 1.
I short filled myself, but I also made it on fuel this time. So I made it on fuel on 10.7. We both stopped at the same time. I'm calling conspiracy.
I was going to say, who was the benefactors out of that? Was that Matthew Cartaglioni that went flying past a nearly stationary Andre Gartner?
Possibly.
Must have been the draft. That's all it can be.
We'll have to review the evidence. It could be.
He must have been taking a slowdown, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because I rid myself of all responsibility from that one. I did apologize profusely because this is the second time now. But what do they say? Third time's a charm. So
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, well, we've given up.
Yeah. No. Well, look, it made it to the end. I did have to fuel save 1 lap. Just I was rolling off coming into T1, but
in good news, you didn't have to worry about the fuel strategy in race 2. Thank you, Sam, for that.
No, but I was a little it was to be honest, other than that little hiccup with the world turning off, and the sun just giving up the ghost, the racing in race 1, apart from a few minor little incidents, was on point. The boys were having a ripper time, and I don't think I've sweat that much in a 20-minute race ever. That was just Andre and myself, and I think Turner got away a little bit, and one of the fit boys and Tim Audi. We're all sort of pretty close, and the gap wasn't going anywhere, and Andre and myself were just nose to tail, and that was seriously so fun. Even some of the boys in the chat were saying just how hard they were concentrating compared to other cars, because the thing is just violent. Yeah, you get any sort of wheel spin, it just almost yanks the wheel from you. So, that was really awesome, and it was actually pretty fun in race 2, trying to see anything. I think I sent a move on Mario Vartanian in one of the laps, and I didn't know where the track was. I just pointed it to where I thought the apex was and just braked a little later, and made it. I didn't make the move stick because I ran so wide, but it was just kind of fun trying to keep the car on track. It was you could cope with it up until the sun just gave up the ghost, and then that was when it was undrivable at that point, obviously. But that was a bit of a surprise for everyone. It was pretty funny anyway. So
as we get back into it, next week we're off to Interlagos for the round 6 or round 1 of the second leg of the series. What are we expecting to see there?
Well, it's going to be very interesting because the BMW is going to be very heavy. I don't know if you saw the ballast calculations. The BMW got another 5 kilos after the endurance race last week at Laguna Seca. And the Ferrari is the one that lost weight. So going to be very, very interesting to see what happens there because the BMW is going to be heavy.
Looking forward to seeing that with the Ferrari as well, because the Ferrari's been close. There's been a couple of drivers who've almost got there in the Ferrari through the first few rounds. So I think that's going to help. You guys have done a fantastic job of getting the BOP pretty darn close, I think. So that little adjustment might just tip it to where we want to see it, so that we've got a nice mix. But we do have that throughout the series. It's been a highlight so far this season. Very quickly, because we don't have any drivers really at this stage to give a shout out, we're going to give another big shout out to the sponsors of the series, simrigs.com. You heard them mention a number of their team drive in the series, including the Autis, and we thank them very much for their support of the series. Bridgestone Select, Cranbourne, Fountain Gate, Roval as well. Sam, your company 93PC behind the series, as well as we've got to give a big shout out to HJ Plant Repairs, who are partners of this series from its conception and continue to do so. So thank you to all of those guys. A really, really big thing that we want to keep doing every week on the series is to give a shout out to John and Wayne. Cancer, it is something that probably has touched everybody's life in one way, shape or form. And in terms of men, prostate cancer is something that you need to talk about. Don't be embarrassed about it. If you've got any issues, you've got to go and get yourself checked out, because unfortunately it can be too late if you don't get onto it early enough. So don't be ashamed. Go and see your doctor. Go and get yourself checked. And if you've got any concerns, do it as soon as you can. Don't put it off, because it can be too late.
Can I second that? My family are actually quite heavily affected by prostate cancer. So yep, talk about it. Don't just talk about it. Talking about it's not enough. Talk about it. Book in to see your GP. If not today, very much well, if it's as stark out there as it is in real life, you may want to book in to see the doctor tomorrow, because you won't be seeing anything at the front end of your car on the way to the doctor. As our drivers found out tonight, ladies and gentlemen, what a round! What a race! Jeff Connell, the hero in black once again. The Batman mobile races its way to the forefront once again. His opponents unable to see him coming in the second race. Such was the colour of his livery on tonight's track. Carl, mate, look, there's races, and then there's what we saw tonight. The racing itself was phenomenal, and conditions that I don't think many people were prepared for, which always makes for a spicy bit of entertainment.
It does. A lot of people, I think, were caught out by that standing start. A lot of people were thrown out by that. And then, of course, the night descending on people. A lot of people especially caught out by that. It is a incredible skill to be able to drive in darkness. It's a very scary thing to do. As I said, back in history, it has been done a few times in endurance racing, where cars have had their lights switch off around certain circuits. I seem to remember back at the Nürburgring 24, a car lost its lights about halfway around the circuit and had to make its way back with no lights at all. And that would have been a harrowing experience. So it is possible, but it's a very scary thing to do indeed.
Yeah, Sam, while we've got you, was it deliberate standing start?
Yeah, absolutely. We did it the same thing last season, actually. The only race we did for standing start was the Audis. Full drive and all that power. Why not?
Oh, no, we love it. Don't worry about that. That's fine. We just wanted to check.
No, definitely intentional.
Just quickly, we've got Mike Casey's jumped up here into the commentary box to come and say a few words to us, Mike. Look, it's not often that you get to go back to the dark ages in terms of the way that the aerodynamics and the cars themselves are set up. But Sam opted to take us a little bit further back in time in terms of track lights as well. So Dark Ages might be the best term.
Game disconnected.
Sorry about that. Just got a bit interrupted there. I missed some of the question, my friend. I'm sorry about that.
It's not often that you go back to the Dark Ages in terms of the way that the cars are set up, but Sam opted to take us back to the Dark Ages in terms of session setup as well.
I thought it brought a bit of excitement to it. To be honest, I was really quite lucky. I got hit in first race and started back in the pack, and then I stayed out. And if we go back a lap, I was running fourth. So, when the lights turned out, it was actually a good thing for me. Pretty happy about that. Thank you, Sam. I don't think I'd ever get a better result, to be honest.
Sam, do you think your name is going to be thrown around as a bit of a dirty word this week? Or do you think you're going to get that little bit of a mixed reaction from everyone where some people are, yeah, Sam Lehman, dirty word. Other people are like, best mate ever.
Oh, well, who knows? I'll copy everything that comes my way. But you know what? As long as we step it back up again next week and continue to run a good series that people are enjoying, then you know what? It is what it is.
Hashtag save Sam for mine. I thought it was fantastic. Obviously, not ending in the dark is not ideal, but another fantastic episode in the AUSPASS Annals Series 3 here, Round 5. As I said, next week we do head to Interlagos. That's going to be an interesting one, ballast adjustments and what have you. So we're back into the GT3s and looking forward to bringing another fantastic edition of this series. As always, guys, Carl, moment of the night for you.
I've got to say, Tim Mitchell driving around in the pure darkness. Just even behind the pace car there, that was some impressive stuff. Scary thing to do, but just staying out there and keeping it out there, that was quite impressive to me. But we did see some brilliant passes as well. That battle between Gardner and Cardione as well towards the end of that first race was fantastic as well.
Scotty?
You know what? To be perfectly honest, I want to say probably the 10 minutes before the lights went out, because it just tested. There's no real one standout moment. What there is a series of unique moments that come with fate. We constantly talk about the failures of the sim racing world. This one may have been a slip of the finger, lack of preparation in terms of how the server was set up, but it created some unique moments. And whilst we can badger and banter on with Sam Lehman all we like, what we can say is I think you've created one of the most unique racing experiences so far. So,
look, all I can realistically say is that people make mistakes, and up until now, Sam has been doing an absolutely sensational job with the league. And I just think it brings a bit of excitement, they're a very unique car to drive. So, I think that I don't think there'll be too many people who'll be disappointed with what's happened, and we'll just all move on and enjoy the series.
I tell you what, I was hoping for all money that those lights were actually going to come on the front of the cars, because I was immediately thinking rally stage. That track is close to a rally stage.
Yeah, and those cars are very close to an Audi Quattro, so,
No, yeah, I think taking nothing away from the way the series has been organised and run, absolutely, just a little bit of fun, and that's a little bit of what this round's about as well, with the different cars, tracks that we don't traditionally run on as well, so, and a slightly unusual but fitting end to the race for me. Richard Brookfield, 49.29 in the dark, is probably my moment of the night, as the guys have already stolen my thunder. But no, really, really great driving from everyone, and a fantastic night once again. A great night for the series. And from there, we are back tomorrow night with a replay. We're going to do a live replay. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but we're going to run the ANSCAR truck series from last night. I wasn't able to stream last night. And Carl is going to do something that you just can't actually do, which is to commentate on the race he's actually driving in. So join us tomorrow night. We're going to put that on at 7:45 as we normally would, and rerun that race on the channel before we head to the Cup Series on Thursday night. Carl, where are we on Thursday night? Put you on the spot.
We're off to Richmond on Thursday night, so Charlotte tomorrow night, and then Richmond on Thursday for the Cups. Yes, we ran the trucks at Charlotte, so it'll be an interesting one. Commentating on myself, that's going to be a strange experience for sure.
If we can't manage to get the stream right knowing what happens, then I don't think that there's much hope for us. But I haven't seen the race, I haven't seen the results yet either, so I'm looking forward to bringing that one to you tomorrow night with Carl. It'll be a bit more of a relaxed environment. There'll be no post-race either, but looking forward to bringing that one to you. Scotty, thanks for jumping back on the stream again. Always a pleasure to have you on board, particularly with AUSPASS, where you can lend your knowledge. And likewise, Carl, thank you for joining us. Guys jumping into the booth, Jeff, Sam, Mike, thanks for joining us as well for a little bit of post-race banter. We appreciate it. And we will see you tomorrow night, but we will see you again next Tuesday for the Oz Pro Am Sim Series on FGM eCast, your e-place for pace. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next week.